Hi yogis, and welcome to day 10 of our 14-day yoga challenge. So we're nearly at the end now. We're doing absolutely amazing. Obviously the main reason why we're doing this challenge is to continue on getting into the habit of doing a yoga practice every day. So sometimes it's actually more effective to do a little bit of yoga every day rather than doing like an hour and a half or an hour's class once a week. So hopefully, obviously, if you've missed a few days, that's absolutely fine. You can always go back and do the videos you've missed, or if you find a particular practice you enjoy, obviously you've got the option of going back and repeating that as many times as you like. The main thing is that you're just trying to start that sort of ball rolling so you can actually start your yoga practice. So what do I have in store for you today? Today we are doing balancing. So just don't go away, you'll be absolutely fine. Balancing is, I love balancing. Balancing is, a lot of people get quite nervous about balancing, and I know personally I've been to lots of yoga classes where people are just advised to sort of go into a particular balance and they haven't actually had the instruction on how to actually do it. So what I'm hoping today is break it down into sort of manageable chunks so that you get the benefit out of balancing without being too scared and nervous about them. And the main reason why we do a balance isn't because of how they look, and I've been to classes where people have sort of had all sorts of weird and wonderful sort of creations with the legs in the air, but that doesn't really matter. The main reason why we do a balance is because balancing is a really, really good way of calming the mind, and that's really one of the only reasons we do it. Obviously we need to have strength in the legs, which is why we've done the strength practices, but to balance properly we need to make sure that we haven't got anything going on in our minds. If you find you've got a busy mind, you're constantly thinking of shopping lists, what you've got to do today, what's happened in the past, you're going to really struggle to actually balance. The main thing with balancing is to clear the mind, relax the breath. A lot of people I tend to find when they come into a balance, they tend to sort of like get really, really tense. And the problem with getting really tense is the fact that they're not, you are going to put the whole of your body off balance. So trying to relax, you need to also make sure that you're looking up at sort of something that's eye level. If you're looking down towards the floor, the centre of gravity will be moving as well, so you need to make sure you're nice and upright. So just trying to imagine you've got a nice thread coming out the top of your head whenever you're doing a balance, and of course it's the sideways one, which we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. You also might find it's handy to have a chair to start off with if you're not feeling confident about balancing. Walls are really good. The best place I've found to practice balancing is actually in my kitchen against a kitchen cabinet. Really, really useful because you've got that support behind you. Again, you can use it hands on, bottoms on, or whatever. So the main thing first of all with any balance is it's all down to your feet. So if you have no indication or no idea where your feet are and where you're balancing on, it's really hard for you to actually come into a balance because you need to really feel that connection with the earth. Sometimes if you have a thick yoga mat, you might find it easier to come onto a hard floor because you do need to feel the ground beneath your feet. And obviously if you've got a thick yoga mat, you might struggle to actually feel where your feet are, if that makes any sense. So what we're going to do is just come into Tadasana. Now Tadasana, as I mentioned before, is nice upright mountain pose. So again, a really good way of grounding those feet into the floor. So if you can, really make sure those 5 toes are really connected. And again, if you can spread the toes out a little bit, that's fine. It takes a bit of practice. So just make sure that the weight is equally placed between your toes and your heels. So again, really feel centered for the energy moving down into the feet. Put a tiny little bend into the knees. Tuck your bottom underneath. So just turn sideways on. Tiny little bend in the knees, not massive, just a tiny little one, so you're not pushing the knees back. Just a tiny little bend there. Just tuck your bottom underneath. So again, just nice and long in the front body, nice and long in the back. Just drop the shoulders down towards the back. So if you can, try to open up the chest a little bit. And again, it's nice just to close those eyes for a couple of moments. So if you do feel, even with your eyes shut, standing with both feet on the floor, if you want to put your hand onto the chair, that's absolutely fine. It doesn't really matter. We'll get to that in a minute. So just feeling that connection with the earth. So again, particularly the big toe, the little toe. Again, weight equally placed front and back. Just take a few moments, really enjoying that breath moving in and out. Become really quiet in your mind if you can. A good way to stop your mind from actually chattering is to relax your tongue as much as you can. You tend to find that even when your mind's thinking, your mouth is moving. So if you actually relax your mouth, so open the mouth a little bit, relax the jaw, relax your tongue in the bottom of your mouth, you probably might find that your mind will become a little bit quieter. It's actually impossible to think if your mouth isn't moving. So again, you can keep the eyes shut, or you might want to open, it's up to you. We're going to do a little bit of sensation, sort of trying to get the sensations into our feet. So again, if you want to put your hand on the chair, that's absolutely fine. Just do it with support. It also gives you a bit of confidence as well. So we're going to bring the weight forward into the toes. So we're going to bring the heels off the floor. So we're going to come into a toe balance, turn sideways on. So again, just feel the weight into the toes. So again, make sure particularly that all the 5 toes are really glued into the floor, particularly your big toe. If you're doing a balance, as soon as your big toe comes off the floor, it's really hard to stay upright. So just really, with that toe balance, you might also want to bring the hands off the chair if you're using that chair. And just notice how your weight changes. So try to keep the big toe nicely down onto the floor. Okay, so we're going to slowly lower those heels down. So now we're going to bring the weight into the heels and we're going to bring the toes off the floor. So you might find the weight comes back a little bit. So just bring the toes off the floor. So bend the toes back, if you can, towards your shins. So the weight's more into the heels now. So again, you can do it with your hands on or your hands off your chair. Let's lower those toes back down now. Okay, so we're going to bring the weight to the outside of your feet. So let's just bring the weight really over the little toe side. So you're bringing your big toe and the inside of your feet off. So the weight's onto the outside. So you might find a bit of a stretch on the outside of those legs. And now we're going to bring the weight onto the inside of the feet. So just notice how those knees come together. So we're bringing the outside of the feet off the floor. Slowly bring those feet back down. So you might find, once you've got your feet nice and flat on the floor, you might actually feel more connected with the earth, which is really important because you need to know where those feet are. Okay. So we're going to start off by just opening up the hips a little bit. So again, the main thing with here is that we're trying to just draw ourselves nice and tall. So again, just imagine you've got a thread pulling you nice and tall at the top of your head. Just relax the shoulders down. So coming into this Tadasana. We're going to bring the weight into your right foot. So the main thing again, make sure you're spreading those toes out so you've got a really nice, more of a base to stand on. And then very slowly, just nice and tall, so imagine that thread, just bring your left knee up. I'm going to keep the hands onto the chairs for the moment and slowly just rotate that left knee round. We're going to roll it backwards. If that feels really uncomfortable, obviously just do smaller circles. Bigger circles if you can, and then maybe circle in the opposite direction. Just taking it easy. So again, really concentrate on the standing leg here. So what we're trying to do is really focus the weight into those toes and those heels of that right foot. Let's bring that left foot down. So if you want to, you can pedal out the feet like we do in downward dog. Just raise one heel up, then the other. So we're going to take quite a lot of pressure onto the ankles. So just take it easy. So we're going to swap sides, so spreading out those left toes into the floor, nice and tall. So again, imagine you've got that thread pulling in lovely and tall. And we're going to lift up your right foot, bring that knee up. So slowly circling that knee. Again, smaller circles if that feels easier for you. And then opposite direction. So again, focusing on that left foot, just noticing how it may be moving or whether it's actually glued nice and strong onto the floor. Let's bring that foot down. So again, pedaling out those feet. So bring the weight onto, maybe moving the hips a little bit one side and the other, really stretching into those feet. Nice and mobile into those hips and that lower back. Wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to come into tree pose now. Obviously some balances you're facing forward a little bit more, you're tilting, so sometimes it's nice to do some moving into the balance, but we're just going to do a little tree pose first of all, just that's not actually moving too much, just to give ourselves that nice sense of stability to make it easier for ourselves. So we're going to start off with our right foot as our standing leg. So again, really spread those toes out. So with any balance, as I said, you need to make sure particularly your big toe stays glued down. So again, if you find that big toe starts coming up, really push it into the floor. And the main thing with this, because it's tree pose or any standing balance, you need to make sure you're really pulling the muscles back towards the thighs. So really tensing those muscles. Now you might find if you do that, your bum cheek will tighten up, which is fine. Also your bum cheek might rise up a little bit, so again it's really good in that glute, so you might feel it in the glute as well, just to pre-warn you. So really gluing those toes into the floor, nice and tall, so really pull those muscles in the leg really tall. Just imagine you've got that thread pulling you nice and tall. So what we're trying to do here is just relax the shoulders, relax your breath, so no tension anywhere. So you use that chair for support. The main thing with balance as well, don't come into it if you're feeling a little bit unsteady. You don't have to follow the same time as going up with the leg at the same time as me. So just do it when you feel ready. So we're just going to turn your left heel into your right ankle. So keeping the toes on the floor to start off with. So just really establish that connection, just noticing how you're feeling. If that feels really strong in that right foot, just gluing that toes down, maybe bringing the foot into your right shin. Okay, so again, really pulling nice and tall, growing out of the ground. We are a tree after all, we're nice and strong. So the idea is trying to keep the foot, you're actually pushing that shin into the foot and the foot is pushing into the shin. So you need to make sure particularly that bottom foot, the left foot, stays either on the shin, or if you want to go a little bit higher, it comes into the thigh. You never ever push that bottom foot into the knee, because you're pushing, you're actually going to push the knee out of joint. So it either goes below or above the knee. We're going to start off with just below the knee to start off with. So again, if that feels okay, arms can be used for balance. If you need to bring the arms out, that's absolutely fine. But just pull yourself nice and tall, relax your shoulders. And again, when you feel ready, just find that point of focus, just find that non-moving point called a drishti point. And then maybe just bring one finger onto your chair or your wall if you're using a wall. And when you feel brave, just releasing both those hands. So again, arms can be used for balance if you need them to. Don't worry too much about what the arms are doing. So again, really focus on those feet. Just relax the chest, relax your shoulders. Really feel your energy grounding down into the floor. Pull yourself nice and tall, nice tree. That feels reasonably okay. You've got the option of bringing that left foot a little bit higher, so you can bring it into your thigh. So we're pushing that left foot into the thigh, and we're pushing the thigh into that left foot. Drawing yourself nice and tall. So again, the fingertips will stay onto the chair if that needs to be. We can bring them out to the side if you want to. You can also bring your hands into your heart centre if you're feeling confident. But the main thing is just trying to find that point of focus, just relax yourself into it. Now it's harder to do with me telling you what to do, so you might with this particular one is just take it on board and just practice in your own time. Take another couple of breaths here. And slowly let's bring that foot down onto the floor. So if you need to put the chair there, that's fine. So again, pedaling out with those feet. Really quite strains on the legs, which is why we've done the strength one first. So again, don't stay in it longer than you need to. The main thing is just building that confidence up and the fact that you can do balancing, but try to not overthink it. Try to enjoy it. Have a smile on your face when you're doing it. So let's do the other side. So spreading those left toes out. Again, really pull those left muscles back towards the thigh. Feel yourself really tall, drop the shoulders down, relax the chest, relax your arms. Take a nice deep breath in and out. Now turn your right heel in towards that left ankle. So keep the toes on the floor to start off with, just to get nice and grounded down with that left foot. So again, really feel where the weight is, whether it's equal front and back, side to side. Relax the shoulders. Just smile to yourself inside. And then let's bring your right foot up into that left shin. Find that point of focus, that drishti point. So again, moving the fingertip onto the chair. Arms can come out, balancing if you need them to. You'll also find one side is much easier to balance on than the other. It tends to be the side you're right with, so if you're right-handed, your right side might be better. If you're left-handed, you'll probably find the left side will be better. And again, even just staying here is absolutely fine. You're still balancing. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter if you're wobbling. It doesn't matter. You're still balancing. Just relax your jaw. Allow your tongue to become soft in your mouth. Relax your breath. And if that feels okay, you've got the option of bringing the right foot a little bit higher onto your thigh, so not the knee. Push the right foot into the left thigh. Push the left thigh into that right foot. Draw yourself nice and tall. Your arms can be out. You can rest them onto your chair. Bring your hand into your heart center. Just really feel that energy grounding you down. Relax your jaw. Relax your breath, relax your shoulders, relax your mind. Just notice where your feet are, push that big toe into the floor. Probably will be wavering around, that's absolutely fine. And then let's slowly bring ourselves back down to the floor again. If you need to bring the hand onto the chair, as you're coming down, pedaling with those feet, so you might find that into your glutes, into your bum cheeks, you might find that into your hips, you might find it in your ankles, into your calves. So again, that's why we need to build that strength up, because it does take quite a lot of pressure onto those joints. And the main thing is though, just as long as you're bringing one foot off the floor, and you can just stand with just one foot off the floor, that's absolutely fine, you're still balancing, it doesn't matter what it looks like, it's just what you actually get out of it. Again, the best place to practice is in your kitchen. So I'm going to leave you with that one today. I'm not going to go too far advanced with balancing. So hopefully, fingers crossed, if you've got any questions regarding balancing, please feel free to message me. But also I'd like to hear about your balancing successes as well, see how you're getting on with them. So thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, namaste. I will see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.